in solar panels and wind turbines and biodiesel plants that promise a clean energy future, something that I know this next generation in particular is concerned about, not only for economic reasons but also for environmental reasons. So we have made some huge changes over the last 20 months, and we can make more, but we're not there yet. We're not where we need to be yet. And this election is going to help determine whether we can continue on this path so that America finally takes on these tough challenges. We finally start making sure that the American dream works for everybody and not just some, and that we're able to compete on a global stage that is more competitive than it has been at any time in my lifetime. And I'm a lot older than a bunch of you guys. So that's the challenge. Now, the only way this is going to work is if hope defeats fear, and that manifests itself in you guys committing to vote. So I need everybody here and everybody who's listening to commit to vote. But I also need you to talk to your friends and neighbors, co-workers, aunts, uncles, relatives, whoever it is that you can get your hands on, and tell them November 2nd matters. If you were excited in 2008, that was the beginning of the journey. That's not the end of the journey. Or to use a sports metaphor, we just finished the first quarter. We've got a whole bunch more work to do. If all of you, a little wiser, a little older after these past 22 months, I'm certainly older, I've got more gray hair here, if you can muster and sustain that same effort and energy, then I'm absolutely confident that we will do well in the election. We will win all across the country. And the polls bear that out. But more importantly, America will win, because we will not have retreated from the progress that we've started. Rather, we will advance and build off the progress that we've started. So it's going to be up to you. The future is going to be in your hands. And I have to say, the other side right now is excited because they see the opportunity to, in the midst of some still very difficult economic times, they see the opportunity to take advantage of that politically. The only thing that is going to counteract their enthusiasm, their excitement, and the millions of dollars that are pouring in from special interests into races all across the country are your voices. We've overcome those forces before. There's no reason why we can't again. But it's going to require that commitment on your part, not only to vote, but to make sure that you get other folks to vote as well. So with that, Jeremy, why don't we open it up for some questions?
Well, thank you, Mr. President, for joining us. As you said, we have questions that we took from different mediums. We've got a Skype question we're going to get to you later. But first, we'll put it up on the screen for you in the room as well.
Okay.
We have a question online. This question is from James in California. And he asks, Mr. President, how best can citizens work to mitigate the effect of corporate money on elections?
Well, this is a big challenge. Now, let me first of all say that throughout the history of America, money has always influenced elections. That's always been the case, starting from the very first presidential election. And the truth is also that Democrats, just like Republicans, have to get their message out, and that means we've got to send out direct mail and we've got to run television ads. And in a big, complicated democracy like ours, it requires resources to get out your message. Then there's nothing wrong with that per se. But what's happening in this election is unprecedented, because what we're seeing, partly as a consequence of a Supreme Court decision called Citizens United, is the ability of special interests to mobilize millions of dollars from donors who are undisclosed to run negative ads at levels that are outspending, in some cases, the candidates themselves or the parties. And when I say negative ads, there was a recent study done estimating that 86% of these ads that are being run by these so-called third-party organizations are negative. 86% of them are negative ads that are just bombarding candidates all across the country, and we don't know where this money's coming from. We don't know if it's being paid for by oil companies who don't like some of our environmental positions. We don't know if they're being run by banks who are frustrated by some of our financial positions. We don't know if they're being funded by foreign corporations because they're not disclosed. And so this poses an enormous challenge. And one of the most frustrating things is that these ads, when they run, the names of these groups are all really innocuous sounding, right? There's Americans for Prosperity and, you know, Moms for Motherhood. And I made that one up, but you get the idea. So if you're just watching the screen, you think, well, gosh, the Americans for Prosperity, I'm for prosperity, and they're saying all these horrible things about the Democratic candidate. Maybe the Democratic candidate's not for prosperity. Now, they have every right under the First Amendment to let their voices be heard, but I think all of us would agree that it would make a difference if you were watching